Now, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for watching this video, and please welcome back once again to my channel. Just in case you are here for the first time, or maybe you are currently watching this and you haven't subscribed, I'm just requesting you to kindly support me by subscribing, and also you can press the notification bell so that YouTube can automatically update you by sending you the notifications immediately I post a video here on this channel. And to my subscribers, to my returning subscribers, I really want to appreciate you so much, because without your support, this channel cannot be where it is currently. So feel very much welcome, and I really don't take your support for granted. So yesterday, Raila Odinga conducted the Azimio la Umoja Alliance rally at Kamukunji just to signify the curtain raiser for the return of the mass actions in some parts of the country immediately after Ramadan. The reason as to why I'm saying some parts of the country is that majority of my supporters here told me not to say the mass actions will be conducted across the country. The truth of the matter is that the mass actions are mainly conducted in some parts of Raila Odinga's strongholds here in Kenya. But I happened to follow the Kamukunji event very closely, and according to my conclusions, based on facts and the general observations that I made, is that Raila Odinga completely failed to achieve his major political objectives. And the reason as to why I'm saying this, first of all, the main agenda or the main purpose of that rally, just like what Raila Odinga had said previously, is that Raila Odinga wanted to update his Azimio la Umoja Alliance supporters on the bipartisan approach talks between him and President William Samoei Ruto. So basically what I expected Raila Odinga to talk about in his speech here, on how William Ruto and him agreed to end the mass actions across the country. And that is why William Ruto had to call Raila Odinga his brother to end the mass actions across the country, and the various steps that they were making, or the strategies they were in, to end the mass actions and to solve their ideologies. Secondly, I expected Raila Odinga to explain to his supporters about the proposals of the bipartisan approach. What were they going to discuss during the bipartisan approach? Thirdly, I expected Raila Odinga to talk about the appointed representatives of both parties, the Azimio and the Kenya Kwanza, and how it will be conducted, and the reasons as to why and how the bipartisan approach talks is failing as at now. But what Raila Odinga was talking about yesterday, and that is why I'm saying that Raila Odinga failed completely. First of all, Raila Odinga was complaining to his Azimio la Umoja Alliance supporters throughout his speech. Raila Odinga was complaining about President William Ruto. He was talking about the high cost of living, which I personally believe that they would have discussed in that bipartisan approach talks. Raila Odinga was issuing new demands for President William Ruto, and you can clearly tell that there was no difference between yesterday's rally and the previous demonstrations or the mass actions across the country. Whatever Raila Odinga was talking about yesterday, it was like there was no anything that was going on through the bipartisan approach. You know, according to this bipartisan approach talks, what Raila Odinga is complaining to his supporters is this. The bipartisan approach talks, first of all, the irreducible minimums or the conditions were like it should be conducted by the members of the National Assembly or the leaders, elected leaders of both parties, the Azimio la Umoja Alliance and the Kenya Kwanza Alliance. They must be elected leaders. But Raila Odinga, and also it should be conducted in parliament. But Raila Odinga, what he did is that after he had appointed his representatives, Raila Odinga had to add Professor Makau Mutua, who is not an elected leader, and also Raila Odinga had to add his lawyer by the name Paul Mwangi, who is not an elected leader. But the Kenya Kwanza Alliance and William Ruto is not ready to conduct that bipartisan approach with the leaders who are not elected. That is the rule, because it should be constitutionally, not just something to talk about. But Raila Odinga, what is proposing here is that the bipartisan approach must be outside the parliament, and secondly, it must be like Kofi Annan approach, just like what he did in the 2008. But basically here, if it is Kofi Annan approach, like issue, then therefore Raila Odinga is demanding for share of positions in the Kenya Kwanza Alliance, which cannot happen. So basically here, what Raila Odinga failed to achieve was to update his Azimio la Umoja Alliance supporters. Instead, he was complaining and issuing new demands to President William Ruto and going against the constitution. Secondly, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about the turnout. And I want to give the credit to the Azimio la Umoja Alliance supporters. They turned up in huge numbers, because according to that rally, if you look at it very closely, you can clearly tell that the turnout of the Azimio la Umoja Alliance supporters was fairly well, but the Azimio la Umoja Alliance leaders is where the challenge is. For example, let me give you the example of the Embakasi East member of the National Assembly, Right Honorable Babu Owino. Babu Owino has never ever missed any political event of Raila Odinga, leave alone the mass actions or the whatever, even any rally, even any meeting that is conducted by Raila Odinga, Babu Owino must attend. Yesterday at Kamukunji, and Babu Owino comes from those places, he did not attend. Why is it that Babu Owino did not attend that event? Remember, recently, within the recent weeks, we heard Babu Owino complaining to Raila Odinga, saying that he was not given an opportunity to represent Raila Odinga in the bipartisan approach talks. So basically, maybe Babu Owino is rejecting, is still bitter or is still angry at that, on the reason as to why he was not appointed to represent Raila Odinga, yet he has been fighting for Raila Odinga so hard. Also, and the third point is that let's talk about the general speech of Raila Odinga on how he failed to achieve his political objective through his speech. First of all, in Raila Odinga's speech, ladies and gentlemen, Raila Odinga lacked the agenda of what he was talking about. He lacked the agenda. The reason as to why I'm saying this is that Raila Odinga is still talking about the previous issues. Remember, Raila Odinga tried to raise the issue of the high cost of living and the prices of unga, but William Ruto was too much ahead of him, because William Ruto announced the prices of unga to be at 150 Kenya shillings, but Raila Odinga is demanding a 100 shillings prices of unga. When Raila Odinga was in the Jubilee government, and he never complained about it, the prices of unga were at Kenya shillings 230. But Raila Odinga never took to the streets. When William Ruto entered the government, and he did away with the subsidies, the prices of unga were at 230 shillings with the subsidies. But William Ruto removed the subsidies and also reduced the prices of unga to be at Kenya shillings 170 to 200. Currently, the prices of unga are at ranges between 170 and 200 Kenya shillings. So he reduced from 230 to that place. Next week, William Ruto will reduce the prices of unga at 150 Kenya shillings. So as we go by, the prices of unga will still reduce. So it is just a matter of time. Even if Raila Odinga had become the president of the Republic of Kenya, I don't think he would have achieved what William Ruto has achieved so far, in my considered opinion. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that Raila Odinga failed on his mission, on his speech, to raise the agenda of what he wanted to talk about. Raila Odinga was talking about the issues that cannot happen, like, for example, the opening of the servers, of which, yeah, that can happen. But also Raila Odinga is demanding that for him to have the bipartisan approach talks with William Ruto, the IEBC officials previously who resigned and others retired, must be returned back to their offices, of which that cannot happen. In as much as somebody resigns from any work, there are the contracts and there are some conditions within the workplaces. You cannot just go as you want and return the way you want. No, that cannot happen. IEBC is an independent institution and it must work within the law to serve the people of the Republic of Kenya. It's like a referee in any general elections, and Kenyans have a right to know what is going on in the IEBC. If Raila Odinga wants the Cherera 4 to be returned so that he can be satisfied, then let William Ruto return them. There's no problem with that. What Raila Odinga is fighting for is nothing. Even if Cherera 4 will be returned to office, William Ruto is still the president and he will definitely win for the 2027 general elections. What Raila Odinga is currently doing is preparing himself for the 2027 presidential bid. Maybe he will stand, maybe he will contest personally for the 6th time, or maybe he will endorse somebody else. But the main issue here is that Raila Odinga will definitely lose the 2022 general elections, even the 2027 general elections, even if he will endorse somebody else, or even if he will be on the ballot by himself. That was my analysis for today. What do you think about yesterday's rally at Kamukunji? Let me hear your thoughts on the comment section below. Otherwise, I don't have much. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, my name is Json. Bye bye.